personal security on. Thank you all for coming out. A lot of hard work has gone into this, and I've never seen this building in school before. So, with that, right here,
Can't hear you.
much work coming out. I said I've never seen a building in school, so it's phenomenal and see a lot of familiar faces. Uh, Having said that, about 15 minutes ago, I got a phone call from Reverend Jackson's group that they were delayed and they were not making this. I'm extremely heartbroken. He called and we connected this morning. We had promises about how the city was going to go. And the gentleman, Reverend Robert Lewis, who lives in Tanner, he says to me, he says, how far are you from Gettysburg? And it's now to go to Gettysburg for an event. And I said, bro, you're on the other side of the state almost 4.5 hours out. You're not going to get here in time. He said, no, no. He said, suppose we're only an hour away from Farrell. So your next event is only an hour away from Farrell. I said, what are we going to do? And he said, we'll move the event up. We're just speaking to the class of students. We'll call them out, we'll move the event up, and we'll get there. So I gave him about a half hour, 45 minutes, and I did call him back, and he said, hey, we got it moved up. We'll be there by 6:30. And I said, Miss Monica's pretty talented. She can solve the people. His name is on my phone, and I smile big.
Outside.
Son Jesse Jr. is with them. We had questions, we had dialogue and stuff. And I know a lot of people with schedules, you have important things to do, came out to support us and support Reverend Jackson. But I do apologize, he's not going to be here. We do intend program. The questions that we're going to be asking Reverend Jackson and Mary Doss, no idea how it compares, but I'm going to fill in for Reverend Jackson.
Tell me about the question.
Reverend Harrison, I saw that clap. Yes. My church.
Don't say it's a church clap. Uh, Tell me about the prompter. Are we talking from right here?
Right, he was like, I was trying to bring up attention. That's all.
In the meantime, for those of you that have written your questions down, you might confer, require questions, you have any, raise your hands. You can have one for our new people. Your question.
We will not be offended if you leave. We promise. We understand this is. I was a lot to hear just now. Thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am. You could. You got to put. You got to write it on the card, though. Listen. So I apologize that you feel it wasn't properly advertised. I got a phone call Friday afternoon as I was leaving to go home because I live in Newcastle and I work a whole lot of hours, but I got a call Friday afternoon as I was leaving. And on the phone call Friday afternoon, I was told that Reverend Jackson and Reverend Al Sharpton were coming to Farrell to speak and I needed to host. So I tried to gather my wits about me and say, well, can I get the particulars so I can create a flyer so I can get it out to everyone? We got the information over the weekend. I put the flyer together personally over the weekend. We got their approval for the flyer and we put it out on Monday. So we advertised it as best we possibly could. I mean, we would have put it in the paper and had on every media outlet we possibly could. But again, was told on Friday this was happening. Reverend Al Sharpton ended up having a death in his family, so he was not able to come. But we did the best we could, ma'am. I do apologize for the inconvenience, though.
Okay. That will give you all an opportunity to ask questions at this time. So before we go any further, I'm going to go over with prayer.
Okay, we will. Yeah, yeah. What about that? Well, we're not asking questions till later. We're gonna ask that question. Honor to city manager and to Kim, Kim Dust. Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Father, we just thank you, give you glory, praise, honor for the legacy of this yes. Even in his absence, Father, we honor what he has done for this, for our community, nationwide, worldwide, Father. And so, Father, even in his absence, we ask right now, Lord, that um, we would come together in this community under the same mindset, and that we would be of one mind, one likeness, Father God. That the answers that we would ask, just to ask Mayor Doss and City Manager Ryan. I pray that everything's done as we speaking with order, Father God, and that kindness. This is our prayer today in Jesus. Amen. 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 Are these on? Sure. Is it live? They hear it on the podcast, but there's little speakers out there that should hear you too. Oh, I just move up. That's all. Yes.
We have questions. Lauren Stouts, Mayor Donis, we as the NAACP branch, Mercer County branch here, has drew up some questions for the mayor to answer. And then, of course, it has questions from those of you who are my questions.
Huh?
Okay, so let me read mine. Hopefully by this time, we'll have the kids with the questions.
You're not going to read the bio? You're not going to read the bio?
Okay. So, make us. It's the topic on economic development and diversity, equity, and inclusion, so DEI. Mayor Doss, what steps are you taking to ensure that diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives are embedded in our economic development strategy, especially as we look to rebuild our community?
Okay. Um, my administration by nature reflects the concept of diversity, equity, and inclusion, not only amongst our workforce and but within the makeup of city council. And we ensure that diversity, equity, and inclusion is embedded in our hiring practices through enabling all qualified applicants a chance to apply and be considered for any openings, regardless of race, color, or creed. When we have a small staff, hiring the best candidate is important to maximizing your team's efficiency and effectiveness. As a municipality, it is the best way to steward taxpayer funds. On a yearly basis, our Farrell Police Department attends diversity trainings. All employees are also offered diversity training to educate and build awareness, which creates a diverse, supportive, equitable, and inclusive environment. We have initiated education, empathy, engagement, and accountability for all employees. Our city manager, council, police department, street department, the fire department, the code department, the sewage department, administration, and city clerk are engaged in all community and attend city events, which positively impacts our community. Farrell is a diverse community with a population of basically 52% African American and 48% Caucasian. And through diversity is already seen in our community. We are working on improving our equity and inclusion, so our administration is in the process of developing a community development corporation that will consist of a diverse board of local business owners and professionals familiar with community development, as well as an advisory committee that will consist of our ad hoc members who are primarily professionals who live outside the area but are willing to serve Farrell because it is their hometown. The mix of individuals involved in this corporation will enable us to purposefully address our community's needs in terms of diversity, equity, and inclusion. We will also be working with Dan Grayson and teams over the Mercer County Regional Planning Commission to develop a new comprehensive plan centered in which we have embedded the principles of diversity, equity, and inclusion as we continue to rebuild Farrell. We have been collaborating with organizations such as the NAACP, the Shenango Valley Urban League, the Farrell Podcast. Council members are members of several committees, such as Mercer County Regional Planning Committee, Shenango Valley Enterprise Zone. It is a must that we serve all people. Now, I know we have all our members that's on the FCDC. Could y'all stand up, please? These are our members. Thank you. And we have some ad hoc members here. Jermaine Somerset, I think Fonte. Can y'all stand up? Donna Powell, Donna Jefferson. Could y'all stand up? Y'all part of the ad hoc committee. Thank you.
Very good, very good. We have one other question, Mayor Doss. And this is about affordable housing and gentrification. And also, Mr. Anderson, and possibly you could answer as well, especially working within your field and your function within the city.
Yes,
Mayor Doss, how is the administration working to ensure affordable housing for Black families and prevent gentrification from displacing long-standing residents in the city of Fairfield?
Okay. Well, we currently have several programs to ensure there's affordable housing to help prevent gentrification and help our longtime residents to stay in their homes. Most recently, we have been working with a program titled the Affordable Housing Program, which has been allowing us to partner with local contractors in building an average of 4 homes a year, which then are offered to qualified buyers via a subsidized mortgage through FHL Bank in Pittsburgh. We have had numerous contractors, but it's a great thing when you have one of your previous residents, like Donna Piles, could you please stand up, that wants to give back to the community. It's a wonderful thing, and is in the process of completing the last home for this funding. The city manager and council is looking to continue the program. So if you would like to get on the list, please see the city manager. We also the homes average about 250,000, 140,000 of which is subsidized, and the purchasers take out a mortgage of around 110,000 on the home, giving them instant equity in the home. This program is one of the largest sources of private sector grants for housing and community development in the country. And locally, First National Bank is our partner, as they are the bank through the purchaser seek funding for the portion of the mortgage. To date, gentrification has not been a major issue for Farrell. But as I already stated, we will be working with Dan Grayson and folks, an engineering firm out of Pittsburgh, and our local people to develop a comprehensive plan that will include a housing development strategy. We will be looking to partner with builders who know how to strategically develop mixed housing, as well as mixed use structures that afford us the chance to maximize our 2.3 square miles. We also have the Lawrence County Community Partnership from Newcastle program. It's a home repair program, which is based on low to moderate income. This brings the home up to code. The program has been existing for over 20 years. Current cap limit is $70,000. Many residents have benefited from this program. Residents must stay in the home for 5 years. We have a waiting list. We have also been looking into additional rehabilitation funds to allow us to assist the long-standing residents which must needed repairs to their homes to report they're being displaced by the natural deterioration of the property. Recently, the city, along with Sharon, were approached by Ian Benson from the Youngstown Development Community Corporation. A 2 million window, 2 millions was the project, windows and roof program that could do over 40 homes a year. Application was submitted, and we should know the outcome in December. And so, whoever was on that list will probably be looked at from that list. Council had approved a program through also our revolving loan fund, whereas a Farrell resident can get up to $14,000 for repairs to their homes at 3% interest. I don't know if everybody knows that. A lien is put on your home, but the resident can get a low interest loan through the city.
I would say what she said, but do you want me to say something else? So part of the process when I interviewed for the position with Mayor Dawson City Council, we had a very strenuous interviews for a couple hours each time. But one of the things they stressed was that housing was an issue in the area, and I don't know if we're in election season. One of the things I'm sure everybody knows and has heard consistently is that there's a housing shortage all over the country. And so one thing I stated to them is that housing is going to be an issue for these two candidates, whether it be your favorite candidate or your least favorite candidate. They're going to have to address housing. And so we need to put ourselves in a position to be able to have a comprehensive plan in place that includes an extensive housing component so we can take advantage of the $2.5 million project we did up on Idaho and do things like mixed use housing or mixed housing where there's a plethora of apartments and single family homes as well. And so, as the mayor said, we're trying to work with Mr. Grayson and his group now. The county commissioners have been very supportive in my dialogue with them. And so, we're going to bring a group in to do a housing study, and we're going to, on top of the programs we already have in place, we're going to go out and find some areas in the community that we can target to build such housing. And then find funding also. So, like the other program, we can offer subsidies so the housing is more affordable. I say this all the time, and I said it. I meet monthly with the other city managers, and I tell them that we are 2.3 square miles in Mercer County, but we're 2.3 square miles. That is really 8 minutes from everywhere, right? You go 8 minutes any direction, and you're in a major area, area that has major commerce. And I say to them that the benefit or the welfare of Farrell is just as important to you as it is to me because our citizens spend their money in your communities. And so, for Mr. Hinkson and Mr. Fiskus to Mr. Roberts, they all agree with me. They threw their hats in the ring and they said, whatever you need, we're here for you. Like I said, they meet with you on a regular basis, and we're trying to put together a comprehensive plan as it stands. So I'm pretty sure over the next, and I'd say 3 to 5 years, we'll see some major movement in the area where there'll be some housing, more housing than we currently have. But at the same, I'm sorry, you want me to stop? Okay. But at the same time, we do have the housing and we have a lot of older homes. We have a lot of homes in our community where people can't afford to put all the money in it that it would take to get it up to code or get it back to where it would be what it was once worth. So we're making a plea to the state, we're making a plea to the federal government when these housing programs come out to say we need serious rehabilitation dollars in our community so we can go into someone's home and do a complete renovation, someone that can't afford to do it themselves, and get it back up to where it's a property not only they're proud of, but something they can pass on to the next generation.
And we just have one other additional question because a lot of the questions posed from the cards were for Reverend Jackson and about how was it to walk with Dr. Martin Luther King and um, what was the most important thing that he felt mattered
Mm-hmm.
in the meeting and election.
Yes.
The other question, after the election on November 5th, what advice would you give us to help protect our family to keep us safe? And the final question, do you know anything about Project 2025?
Yeah.
One of the sorry, they actually named themselves baby. My question is, what will the Heinz Waltz campaign do for the disabled Black population? We are the ones constantly excluded from the conversation of change and politics.
Mm.
And honestly, I feel very left behind due to this.
Wow.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
These are great questions posed, and possibly we can have a conversation locally and to get there are a lot of people that have witnessed and experienced the civil rights movement within our community.
Mm-hmm.
And truthfully, if we look at a lot of what's going on in today's culture, nothing much has changed. However, we are coming together with a different perspective of ensuring that we have to encourage one another. One final question for the two of you. Farrell is not immune to national concerns about police violence and racial profiling. How can the city lead in reforming community policing to ensure accountability? And what advice would you offer to guide those efforts?
Great. Well, our administration recently went through a major overhaul in two very important positions that were critical to this question. Um, First, we promoted from within and gained the new chief of police. And secondly, we hired a new city manager. Um, City Council has charged these two gentlemen with the creating a protect and serve environment that fosters the reform we are looking for nationally through accountability at every effort. We have implemented body worn cameras to ensure timely investigations of misconduct, and we plan to train officers in culture competency, anti-bias education, and community engagement.
Thanks. Okay, at this
I don't get to say that.
time, the president of the NAACP,
She disappeared.
Marcy for staying.
Yeah, we appreciate y'all.
It's very important that we come together.
Maybe someone else just want to talk about something. Maybe. Huh?
Their kid, let them shut down.
Prayer with invocation by Reverend.
There's cookies. There's... That when we hear the sound, we'll come. That's right. That's right. Come on. Because we all need each other. That's right.
And I'm gonna do it because I believe God, ain't gonna let no time.
You're in the mirror, sir. Sir, sir, let nobody. Oh, this love. We're moving forward.
Really sorry. Say we just took the picture. So we are children. And we, my son,
That's right. Yeah, reclaim your vote. Reclaim your vote. Yes. Yeah.
well, if she wants three questions, we will.
Oh, no.
We would have took questions.
Huh?
We would have took questions.
If they won't have any questions.
We're good.
Very got a better question.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sure, sir. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
That nobody put signs for, and people go around looking for places to live, and they down in our lower parts, and they get charged a town money, and they can't afford it.
Well, I'm so glad you asked that question, Mr. Holloway. So again, another thing I was charged with by the administration before I got the position was that I would come in and I would essentially help create a very fair and a quality rental housing program. Rental housing is not just an issue in your community, it's an issue in two other communities that I've been in and I worked in. And so we're working right now. We did hire another code person because code was lacking in manpower. We did hire another individual. We're trying to get our current individuals trained to get them building code official certifications so they can go in and certify properties for rentals, but you have to have a rental program in place that landlords respect. And we haven't had that in the past. And we're now working together as a team to put that in place. But again, in order to monitor it, you have to have full-time staff to do it. And for the sake of Farrell, we're a small municipality, so we have a small staff. So we are allotting other dollars to make that happen.
And in order to bring more business, how would they want to bring a business on Walker Boulevard, look like it's junkyard?
Well, and so let me just address the elephant in the room that's in the room every time I come in, and I want to make this very clear to you guys. We are 2.3 square miles, right? It's hard to convince someone to bring a new business into a place that's as small as ours. And I said this, when 8 minutes on the other side, you have major traffic, right? So if you notice, most of the businesses come in, where do they go? Down to, y'all call it two different names, to Broadway. They go down to Martin Luther King
Okay.
Boulevard because that's a major thoroughfare. So our push or our press is to clean up our streets and our community. Again, going back to the staff, so we're putting more staff in public works to get it taken care of. But at the same time, we're not going to attract major businesses who, when they find out where we're at, know that if they go right over there, they're in 18, or right over there, they're down in Hermitage, they have more traffic. So while we do want to clean up our streets in our community, we need to start moving towards becoming a bedroom community, right? And that's why a major portion of our focus is going to be to put dollars into housing. But another thing is we have a lot of very talented people in the Farrell community. We have a lot of talented people who are working out of their homes. And so we're going to look to get money to subsidize these home-based entrepreneurs and help them maybe get a storefront here or there where we have some, but keep those tax dollars in Farrell by maybe working out of their home. Um, when I got here, and I do, I brag about, I do have a very specific skill set, this organizational development. And when I came in, you guys had some great people working in the city. You have some very knowledgeable people. And you have people who've been underpaid and been working here for a very long time. And one of those gentlemen's name is Mark Yursky. And Mark Yursky is unbelievable when it comes to zoning and understanding commercial zoning. So part of our comprehensive part of our comprehensive plan will be for me to sit with Mark Dursky and say, okay, how do we rezone some residential areas or some areas that haven't historically been mixed use and get them set up so people can do hair out of their home and get paid for it. Someone can sell pastries or things out of their home and still get paid for it because again, we don't have a lot of area and we don't want our people taking their talents and going to sharing a hermitage, right? So that'll be part of the comprehensive plan as well. But as I said, when you see those changes start to happen and you see that the money within the community, the income within the community, I'm sorry, start to increase, then what you'll see is people being able to take care of their homes better. You'll see businesses who have to get in line with what we're saying. I say this everywhere I've been. No one speeds through Poland, Ohio. And they don't speed through Poland, Ohio for one reason and one reason only. If you do, you're going to get a ticket. They take their ordinances seriously. So the council's press and my press has been to push our people to take our ordinances seriously because we're not telling you to cut the grass because we care that your grass is cut. We're telling you that because a better looking property is valued more. We're not asking you to, we're not asking you to repair your peeling paint or fix your broken windows or to do something about the vacant property that you own because we want to be on your behind because we're in charge. We're saying that because when your property's worth more, their property's worth more. And then when investors do look in and they say, hey, should I buy property down there in Farrell? Oh yeah, because they're city council, they don't play. And they're gonna make sure your property ends up having the kind of value that it needs to have. So yes, sir. So I'm sorry. Go ahead. Do you wanna? The question is, what is the city doing to work with local contractors? I got you, Mr. Pleasant. So, beside the program, which we're currently working with Ms. Powell's and it's in the housing program, she's a former local contractor, but she came back to help us out. Is that we're trying to finish putting a program in place that was in place before, where local contractors can get certified through this. I believe it's a state certification, but local contractors can get certified, and then you could be a contractor that helps us with the rehabilitation of the properties. But again, and there's a well, come see me, bro. There's a formula the state has that's in place, and I can't remember off the top of my head. But if it costs so much to renovate your home, and that renovation is more than the value of the home, then the state won't allow us to fund it for it to be renovated. So we have to look for some more clever and creative ways to go in and renovate homes. So when we do get those dollars that we will be accountable for, we can turn around and say, okay, it'll only take $20,000 now from this program to get that property back to its previous value. So, and this is, and I tell people this all the time. People think that we're intrusive. They think we're in people's business. I have people to say, I don't want code enforcement coming to my home. I don't want anybody inspecting my home. When I can go to the state with the reports and I can say, listen, I have 4,400 homes that need roofs. I have 400 homes that need windows. I have 400 homes that have aging furnaces or aging systems in their home and they're dangerous. Then the state will be okay. So prove that to us on paper, and now we'll look at you as a more viable source to send these housing dollars to. So when we reach out to you, and it's coming, I'm telling you now, it's coming. When we reach out or we knock on that door and we ask to see, we're not asking to see to make you spend money you don't have. We're asking to see just so we can figure out how we can help. So I hope I answered your question, Brown. So, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And something we do, something the city does, and something, we have a lot of grant money that flows through the city. So most of the projects that we are working on have to be handicap accessible. So whoever that individual is, you're not being left out by the city. Every time we pave streets like we did up on Idaho, $2.5 million, we have to put money into making sure that the sidewalks and the curbs are ADA approved. You cannot spend state or federal money without including the disabled population. So I hope whoever said that isn't feeling that way from us because we're doing everything we can to include you. Even today, we were here in our security team, and thank God for Chief Gatewood, Chief Renner, and a gentleman that they did everything they could to make this building secure for Mr. Reverend Jackson and his team even though they didn't come. How about a round of applause for them and everything? They just, but they considered that, and their priority was if someone came and they weren't able to get up steps, they would let them in the other door. So we do make sure we include our disabled population. Yes, sir. Okay. So again, and guys, listen, and I'm not. I love Farrell. I grew up in Farrell. Between my family lives here and being over, and I love you guys. But it's hard to convince a fast food restaurant to come on this street where they're going to see about 100 cars a day when they go 3 streets over and they're going to see 4,000 cars a day. Right? We'll do the best we can to attract business, but why not? Listen, I've been here. I keep hearing this person makes great pork chops, and this person makes great that,
Right.
and this person makes great. Well, why don't we open our own restaurant? I heard
That's
there
right.
used to be
That's right. Yes.
a diner right up the
Right.
street. And
Yep.
and we, the city, we have funding to help someone
Yes.
who wants to open a business, and we would love that. We want to go to the state. There's a program where the state will help us. They'll come in and they'll assess the home-based businesses we have, and they'll help us get funding to help these home-based businesses get small storefronts. But we have to know about it. We have to know you're out there doing that. And the bank, again, banks are online. Most banks are going to online. They're only going to want to be in major or high traffic areas where they know they're going to see a lot of customers every day. Everyone is trying to save money. Everyone's pinching pennies and trying to save money. And so while we do intend to have an economic development plan, we have to be realistic with what kind of businesses we're going to attract, and what kind of what industries we're going to be able to attract to our community. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. We have another question, Mr.
One more too.
Thanks for coming, sir.
Somebody needs help with any sort of business, but like writing side, they can come to me and I can help you with the writing part, like advertising or copywriting. Because if you guys have a business idea for a restaurant, like mom and pop shop, you definitely need advertisement and writers for 100% writing notes. Anybody needs some writers to help you? Hit me up. Okay.
We'll get our name. We'll get you. Yeah. We'll get your information.
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I could do this all night. I work for Mayor Doss. I get questions all day long.
I'm asking that many questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. And you'll have more than tonight to be able to raise these questions to them. It's important that we're here tonight because it shows that you care.
Yes, yes.
Need to know that they. And so just as they have opened up to you tonight, they said so much about Vice President that nobody knew who she was. She needed to introduce herself. A lot of you don't know Mayor. I mean, City Manager Anderson, Mayor Dawn.
Yes.
Right? But we also have City Manager Anderson
Yes.
that you do not know. But I want you to know that he is somebody.
Yes. That's true. You're somebody.
And he's probably one of the most gifted
Yep.
administrators that I have come across.
Yes.
And I work in city government. And so I
Thank you,
just
sir.
need y'all to know what gift we
Have.
have
Yep.
as city manager in Farrell.
Yep. Yep. So
Working full of grit. You lonely but not willing to help.
that's right.
Like that.
Right. That's right.
Actually, we're gonna end this. One question from love on the town. Question, just thank you for the hard work. Right.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
God's powers should cease building income-based housing when the 2.3 square miles, not everyone falls within the income guidelines
Lord.
and would like to purchase a new
No.
home in the city.
We land.
One thing we have to our detriment and we have to our advantage is the fact that we have a 75.3 LMI. LMI stands for low to moderate income. So it's no surprise to you. We were recently in Act 47, distress community status, and then you guys got out of that in 2019, which is phenomenal. But we still continue to have one of the highest low to moderate income bases in the state. And so while it's detrimental, because of course we want to make more money, it's excuse me, it's also advantageous because once you're 51.8%, the state begins to watch you and you get a lot more consideration for funding. So we will see, and we should see, based upon our comprehensive plan, and then some other things we have in the works, we will see a lot more favor from the state level to bring in dollars to subsidize home ownership. Again, the big topic right now in this election, and you have to watch the news closely, is the housing shortage, right? What are you going to do to address the housing shortage? And when people are asking those questions in a national campaign, that means when those candidates get in office, those watchdog groups are going to be on their behind. And so they're going to be sending funding. And quiet as kept, you have a little secret agent. I don't know how much of a secret she is anymore on your side, but Dr. King's daughter, Miss Selena, who I had the pleasure of talking to these last few days, is someone who's in our favor. So she put me in touch with some HUD people last week, and I'll be talking to them about some funding that we're looking for. And then, like I said, we'll also be going to the federal level. But it's just what Reverend Penn said. I can't go to the state level and say, or the federal level and say, hey, we need all this over in Farrell and go there with my hands out, right? I want to go and sit down at the table and say, listen, I got an army behind me. And if you give us the money, this army will implement the money that you're giving us. But that means we're going to keep our grass cut. That means we're going to keep our sidewalks repaired. That means we're going to when we're part of a program, we're going to report. We're going to let people know what's going on inside our home. When people knock on the door and ask us how many people live here and what's your income, we're going to be honest and we're going to let them know so we get adequate statistics at the state and federal level. It takes all of us to do it. And I'm a bad boy, I'm being honest, I really am. But it takes all of us to get it done. I can't get it done if people don't want to participate. And I know my code officers will say, I go and knock on the door and they won't let me in, or I go and ask a question and they tell me answers that I know aren't true. When I was coming up, if my dad, I'll never forget, my dad was 6'4", 300 pounds, and he worked in the steel mill overnight. We were church mice in that house in the daytime because if we woke him up, we were going to get eaten. And when my dad didn't go outside and cut the grass, my neighbor, who was in his 80s and who was old and feeble, would come over and knock on the door, and he said, "Hey, boy, go tell your daddy to go out there and cut the grass." And guess what my dad would do? He would get up and go cut the grass. We need that kind of accountability in our community because when his yard looked bad, when our yard looked bad, he felt it made his yard look bad, right? When someone elderly is having an issue with their home and they can't get it painted or they can't get a porch built, we need to rally around and go and help them to get that kind of stuff done. So when someone drives down Romer, well, they're not saying what Mr. Holloway just said and saying it looks like a junkyard, right? Well, I'm glad
Oh
you said
yeah,
that. I've
it
only
looks
been here.
better.
I've only been
It
here
does
for
look
five
better.
months. But that's our press. Our press is to do it as a team. So we do have some things in the work, and we have a
Yeah.
big announcement coming up here in the next couple of months. We think that
Yes.
everyone's
Yeah.
going to be excited about, but we can't really let the cat out the bag yet. So
But I think that the person you was asking about for people with higher income to get to build a house. That's it.
wait,
Like
who said? I didn't. I'm sorry. I
yes,
misunderstood the question.
yeah. You was talking about building. So,
We began to discuss how the city should cease building income-based housing within the 2.3 square miles. Not everyone falls within the income guidelines.
they're higher than the low income.
Because, yeah, they're higher income.
Okay. Yes.
Yes,
Home in the city.
we have land.
So So again, another thing we're working on is we have a lot of vacant property, and again that Superman Mark Yersky will be working on this for us in 2025. But the county wants us to replot our properties so that no one builds on the small lots we used to have. So once we get the properties replotted and the assessment and stuff goes through, then we will be trying to offer plots of property for sale to entice builders to come in. One thing we want to look into in the 2025 the fiscal year will be tax abatements. Tax abatements for people who want to buy and build their own home. We'll be looking for tax abatements for contractors that want to come in and build homes, or developers that want to do developments within some of our larger communities. So we do have plans in place that include everyone, but we do want to address the pressing needs first. And so that's what we've done. And again, I say this to Mayor Doss every day. I only been here 5 months, so give me a minute. So give me a minute. I only been here 5 months.
He's doing a good job.
Thanks, sir.
Great job.
I really well recognize that it takes time, effort on everybody's part. We got to be in this thing together. If we're gonna ever turn barrel around, if it's gonna ever be the community that you really want it to be,
Mm-hmm.
have to decide that we're gonna work together. Number one in my community, the houses, and they can cut your grass.
Yep. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Appreciate you
Yep.
when you get it cleaned up.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to know that you have opportunities to work together to get this thing turned around. And the city needs your support. That's all. Let's get ready.
I just want to say before you go though, I'm so honored that so many of you stayed.
Yep.
I really
Appreciate
am,
it.
because I was scared to death to tell y'all Reverend Jesse wasn't.
I was down. I was down.
I'm so honored that so many of you.
Mr. Anderson, what you need to know is what makes Farrell great is its citizens.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I agree.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
It's you who make the city great.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
We're glad that you stayed. Let's get ready to go.
Yes, sir.
So make it come out.
Father, we thank you for the opportunity this evening. Though plans were for something else, you knew exactly what we needed.
Yes. Yes.
Needed to take place. And so we thank you that everyone stayed. That
Jesus.
questions were asked, things that were on people's hearts. Got a chance to hear it from the mayor, got a chance to hear it from the city manager. We ask you now to cause this city to be galvanized together, to work together, to strive together, to help one another in order to make a difference.
Yes.
Difference won't be made if we don't stand up, if we don't speak up, if we don't get the job done. So pray tonight that there would be a change of consciousness in the community.
Yes.
That there will be cooperation that can change the community. As Nehemiah challenged the people, God, tonight, we ask you to challenge our hearts, that we would be the difference that we want to see in
Yes.
this community.
Yes.
Mighty name of the only name that matters, our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
This is Mr. Howard.